This audiobook reveals the ancient truth that the bending of the universe is not a myth, but a law responding to your very heartbeat. As you listen, you'll understand why this message appeared with the caption, "You were found." Because the universe brings such wisdom only when you are ready to remember who you are. The universe bends for you the moment you align with the frequency of your own creation. Bending of Universe. Introduction. Before time shaped the first dawn, the universe breathed in a rhythm older than stars, an unseen pulse weaving through every atom, every possibility, every life. This hidden pulse answers the slightest shift within you, as though your very consciousness is a hand brushing the strings of a cosmic harp. The sages of old knew this well. Your thoughts are currents, your emotions are tides, and together they send ripples through the vast fabric of reality. To awaken to this truth is to remember what your soul has always known. You do not force the universe to bend. You simply return to harmony with the flow that has carried creation since the beginning. As a tuning fork hums to its natural pitch, so too does your inner being summon experiences that resonate with its dominant vibration. The universe does not bend from obligation. It bends because it mirrors you with flawless precision. Each thought is a signal, each feeling a frequency, and the cosmos echoes them back with unwavering fidelity. This is not enchantment or myth, but eternal law, steady as gravity, steadfast as the sunrise. Nothing in your life is accidental. Every circumstance, every encounter, every unfolding moment is a reflection of the frequency you broadcast. The shift you seek in the outer world begins with a quiet turning inward, a recalibration of the vibration you carry. The power you long for has never been lost. It has only waited for your remembering. Imagine yourself as a lighthouse of energy, constantly sending waves into the infinite sea of creation. These waves, your beliefs, your emotions, your expectations, pull matching realities toward you with exacting accuracy. The universe does not measure them as good or bad. It simply obeys the signal. And so, in this timeless dance between consciousness and creation, you are both the weaver and the tapestry, the spark and the flame. Your awareness is the ancient key, and once it turns, the infinite bends willingly, elegantly, and inevitably in your favor. Before we get into the book, comment, "I am ready," to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1, The Remembering. Chapter 1, The Whisper Before the Bend. The wisdom you now explore echoes across time, waiting to be rediscovered through the quiet moments of life. In a small library between modern towers, a truth began to unfold through Clara, who spent her days surrounded by countless stories, but had yet to recognize the one writing itself through her own life. Between the towering shelves and hushed whispers of turning chapters, Clara noticed how certain moments carried a different weight. A book falling open to exactly the passage she needed. A stranger's smile arriving precisely when her heart felt heavy. At first, she dismissed these as mere coincidences, until the frequency of such moments could no longer be ignored. In the silence of her daily routine, Clara began to sense a deeper current, moving beneath the surface of ordinary events. She discovered that when she paused, truly paused, to listen to the quiet spaces between thoughts, something remarkable occurred. Her world began to shift, not through dramatic gestures, but through subtle alignments that felt like pieces of a cosmic puzzle falling into place. This revelation speaks to the heart of universal law. Stillness precedes the miracle. When you quiet the mind's constant chatter, you attune to the frequency of pure potential. Like Clara, you may notice that life responds not to your demands, but to your receptivity. A similar truth revealed itself to Henry, a businessman who had grown frustrated with apparent delays in his ventures. Each setback seemed to mock his carefully laid plans, until he glimpsed the pattern. What appeared as obstacles were actually redirections, each one guiding him toward unseen opportunities. His resistance to these delays had been blocking the very blessings attempting to reach him. The universe speaks in the language of synchronicity, orchestrating events with a precision that only becomes visible when you step back to observe the larger pattern. Your role is not to force the flow, but to align with it. Every seeming coincidence is a thread in a tapestry too vast for the immediate view. Practice. As you prepare for sleep tonight, recall one moment from your day that carried special significance, perhaps a chance encounter, an unexpected solution, or a moment of perfect timing. Whisper your gratitude for this sign of universal orchestration. This simple acknowledgement strengthens your attunement to the cosmic dialogue ever unfolding around you. The universe bends toward those who recognize its gentle guidance. Chapter 2. The Mirror of Belief. In the depths of every mirror lies a truth waiting to be recognized. Your outer world reflects, with perfect precision, the convictions held within. Let this ancient wisdom sink deeply into your awareness. Reality bows to match your innermost beliefs about yourself and what you deem possible. Martha stood before her mirror one evening, noting the weariness etched across her features. Her shoulders slumped under invisible burdens, her eyes carrying shadows of doubt. In that moment of honest reflection, she realized a profound truth. Her physical exhaustion merely echoed her inner certainty that life demanded constant struggle. The law of reflection operates with unwavering accuracy. Like a still lake that captures every detail of the sky above, your circumstances mirror your deepest beliefs. When you look upon your life with clear eyes, you will find evidence of your convictions everywhere. In your relationships, your work, your health, and your prosperity. Consider Arthur, a merchant who once viewed the marketplace as a battlefield where success came only through fierce competition. His days were filled with conflict, his ventures marked by struggle. Yet, when he encountered these teachings, he began to understand how his belief in scarcity had shaped his reality. With patient practice, Arthur shifted his inner vision. He began to see abundance flowing naturally through all things. He recognized opportunities for cooperation where before he had seen only rivals. As his inner landscape transformed, so too did his outer world, not through force, but through the natural law that makes manifest what we hold as truth. This principle operates ceaselessly in your life. Your beliefs about worthiness determine the love you receive. Your convictions about abundance shape your material prosperity. Your thoughts about health influence your physical well-being. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, does not judge these beliefs. It simply reflects them back to you with perfect fidelity. When you understand this law, you hold the key to transformation, Change begins not by struggling against outer circumstances, but by examining and elevating your inner convictions. The mirror cannot help but reflect what stands before it. So too must your reality align with your deepest beliefs. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space where you can be undisturbed. Stand or sit comfortably and speak aloud one new belief you wish to embody. It might be, "I am worthy of abundance," or "Peace flows naturally through my life." Repeat this truth until you feel its resonance in your body, until it settles into your bones as natural as breath. The universe will have no choice but to reflect this new conviction back to you through your experiences. Chapter 3. The Seed That Knew. In the quiet dawn of an early spring morning, Elsa knelt in her garden, her fingers working the dark soil with anxious determination. Though frost still threatened and winter's chill lingered in the air, she could not wait. Into the cold earth went her precious seeds. Rare flowers promised to bloom in magnificent abundance. Each day thereafter she returned, disturbing the soil to check their progress, her impatience mounting as she searched for signs of life. The universe speaks through the natural order of things. Just as a seed requires darkness and stillness to transform, your deepest desires grow first in the unseen realm. When you plant an intention in the fertile soil of consciousness, trust must become your gardener. Your role is not to force the growth, but to maintain the perfect conditions for emergence. Every time you dig up your seeds to check their progress, you interrupt the divine process at work. Your doubt becomes interference, your anxiety a disturbance to the natural order. Consider Milton, the ancient potter who understood this wisdom. For 40 years he crafted vessels of extraordinary beauty. When asked about his secret, he would smile and say, "I shape the clay, but I do not shape the becoming. That belongs to the fire." He knew that once he placed his creations in the kiln, any interference would destroy their transformation. His masterpieces emerged not through his constant attention, but through his willingness to step back and allow the process to unfold. The universe operates with perfect timing. Your desires, like seeds in the earth, require periods of apparent inactivity. During these times, powerful forces work beneath the surface, orchestrating circumstances beyond your current understanding. What appears as delay is often divine protection, ensuring all elements align for your highest good. When you find yourself tempted to force outcomes or rush the natural timing of manifestation, remember, the oak tree does not grow faster when pulled. The butterfly cannot be rushed from its chrysalis. Your role is to plant your intentions with clarity, nurture them with faith, and then release them to the wisdom of universal law. The sacred practice. Find a quiet moment and settle into a comfortable position. Close your eyes and visualize your heart's desire as a luminous seed, pulsing with potential. See yourself planting this radiant seed in rich, dark soil. Feel the rightness of letting it rest there, undisturbed. Know that cosmic forces tend to it even now, in ways your human mind cannot comprehend. Return to this visualization whenever doubt or impatience arise, remembering that creation unfolds in its own perfect season. Chapter 4. The Invitation of Contrast. In a bustling marketplace, a merchant named Nell arranged her wares each morning, her small shop a testament to 15 years of dedicated service. One day, without warning, she found her stall space given to another. Her world seemed to crumble in that moment. Yet within this apparent loss lay a seed of transformation. When the universe closes one door, it does not abandon you. It guides you toward greater alignment. Each perceived setback carries within it the embryo of expanded possibility. The law of polarity teaches that within every challenge exists its equal opposite, an opportunity of matching magnitude. Your journey through life flows like a river, meeting obstacles that shape its course. These obstacles do not block your path. They reveal it. Just as water does not fight the rocks, but flows around them, finding new channels and creating beautiful patterns, your energy naturally seeks its perfect expression. Think of your consciousness as a great artist, using both light and shadow to create depth and meaning. Without contrast, no picture has dimension. Without resistance, no muscle gains strength. The universe employs this same principle in sculpting your destiny. In Nell's case, the loss of her familiar routine forced her to examine what truly called to her soul. In the quiet space of uncertainty, she discovered a forgotten dream of creating artisan crafts, work that made her heart sing in a way her previous business never had. The very pain of loss had carved space for something more aligned with her essence to emerge. Consider Leonard, a writer whose manuscript faced rejection after rejection. Each no refined his vision, strengthened his voice, and ultimately guided him to create work of far greater impact than his original conception. What appeared as rejection was actually the universe's loving redirection. When you encounter resistance, pause and ask, what clarity is this contrast offering? Every disappointment contains a divine message about your true path. The key lies not in avoiding these moments of contrast, but in recognizing them as instruments of refinement. Your practice for embodying this wisdom. Take a moment now to recall an event that brought you pain or disappointment. On a piece of paper, write, I thank this specific event for showing me. Complete the sentence by recognizing what this contrast helped you understand about yourself, your path, or your desires. Feel genuine gratitude for how this experience shaped your journey. This practice transmutes the energy of resistance into the power of conscious creation. Chapter 5. The Frequency of Joy. High in the mountains lived a woman who spent her days weaving tapestries in solitude. Though her work brought her recognition, Vivian's spirit felt heavy with the weight of perfectionism. One morning, as she reached for her loom, a bird flew through her window, tangling itself in her carefully arranged threads. Instead of frustration, something unexpected bubbled up within her, pure, unbridled laughter. In that moment, the sunlight seemed to dance differently across her workshop. Your emotional frequency creates the template for all that manifests in your life. When you understand this truth, you recognize that joy is not merely a response to circumstances. It is the architect of them. The universe responds not to your words or actions, but to the vibration you emit. Like attracts like, this is the fundamental principle that shapes reality. Your emotional state acts as a tuning fork, sending ripples through the cosmic fabric that return experiences of matching frequency. Joy, in its purest form, resonates at the highest vibration, creating a magnetic field that draws forth more reasons to rejoice. Consider Silas, a merchant whose business had grown stagnant. Despite implementing various strategies, nothing seemed to shift until he made a remarkable discovery. During a particularly challenging day, he began telling humorous stories to his customers. The atmosphere in his shop transformed, and mysteriously, his fortunes followed suit. His revelation wasn't about business tactics. It was about frequency. The wisdom of the ages teaches that laughter is not frivolous. It is sacred geometry in motion. When you laugh genuinely, you align with the natural abundance of the universe. Your cells vibrate in harmony with the frequency of manifestation. This is why children, in their natural state of joy, so easily attract what they desire. They haven't yet learned to doubt the benevolence of existence. Ancient practice, the laughter attunement. Find a quiet space where you can be undisturbed. Begin with a gentle smile, allowing it to grow naturally into laughter. Whether it feels genuine at first matters not. The very act of laughing creates ripples in the quantum field. Let your laughter build freely for several minutes. Feel how it changes your physical state, your energy, your very presence in the world. This practice aligns you with the frequency of manifestation, preparing the way for miracles. Remember, joy is not the result of manifestation. It is the cause. Your laughter today plants the seeds of tomorrow's blessings. Chapter 6. The Law That Listens. Throughout the ages, masters have taught that prayer is not a desperate plea, but a resonant broadcast, a song of the soul that the universe cannot help but echo. In the quiet hills, there lived a woman named Ruth who visited the temple each morning, her lips moving in silent supplication. Day after day she knelt, her prayers a litany of wants and wishes, until one dawn brought an awakening that would transform her understanding forever. As sunlight streamed through stained glass, Ruth felt something shift within her chest. Her usual whispered requests fell silent as warmth spread through her body. In that moment she realized prayer was not about asking, but about becoming. The universe responded not to her words, but to her energetic signature. When you enter the sacred space of communion with the infinite, you are not a beggar at the gates, but a broadcaster of possibility. Your every emotion sends ripples through the cosmic ocean. The universe does not grant wishes. It mirrors your energetic state with perfect precision. This truth revealed itself to Eli, a merchant who spent years believing he must prove his worth before abundance could flow. Each night he would count his coins, his anxiety a wall between himself and prosperity. Until one evening, beneath a star-filled sky, he felt his inherent worthiness as clearly as his own heartbeat. In that moment of self-recognition, the energy of lack dissolved into the knowing of his natural abundance. The law remains constant. Your emotional broadcast creates your reality. When you pray with the vibration of already having received, you align with the frequency of manifestation. Your feelings are the prayer. Your state of being is the request. The universe responds not to your words, but to your energetic signature. The ancient wisdom keepers understood this secret. Prayer is not about asking the universe to change, but about changing your own frequency to match what you wish to receive. When you radiate the energy of what you desire, you become a magnet for its physical expression. As Ruth discovered in her moment of awakening, and as Eli learned beneath the stars, the power lies not in the words spoken, but in the feeling embodied. The universe listens not to your voice, but to your vibration. It responds not to your requests, but to your resonance. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Whisper softly, "The universe listens when I feel." Choose one pure emotion, joy, gratitude, peace, or love. Let it arise naturally within you. Stay with this feeling, letting it expand until it fills your entire being. Do not rush or force. Simply allow the feeling to grow until it sings within you, becoming your energetic broadcast to the universe. Chapter 7. The Current of Allowing. The universe responds not to desperate pleas, but to the frequency of your being. When you grasp this truth, you unlock the ancient wisdom that has guided mystics through the centuries. In a bustling marketplace, Hattie stood before her shop. Anxiety etched across her face as she counted the day's meager earnings. Each morning she would rise before dawn, arranging her wares with precise determination, willing customers to appear. The harder she pushed, the more elusive success became. Her grip on outcomes had become a vice, squeezing the very life from her dreams. Through divine synchronicity, she encountered an old merchant who shared a truth that would alter her path forever. The river flows not by the force of its waters, but by surrendering to its natural course. These words penetrated Hattie's heart, initiating a profound transformation. She began to understand that her constant striving created resistance in the universal flow. Like a tightly clenched fist that cannot receive, her rigid expectations blocked the very abundance she sought. This truth echoes in the story of Clyde, a painter who had lost his inspiration. For months, he sat before blank canvases, demanding creativity to flow. His masterpiece eluded him until the day he released his grip on the outcome. Walking in nature, free from the burden of expectation, images began flowing through him effortlessly. His surrender became the doorway through which inspiration returned. The law that listens responds not to demand, but to alignment. When you cease pushing against the current of life, you enter a state of allowing that magnetizes your desires naturally. Your role is not to force the river's flow, but to align with its direction. The universe operates through this principle of least resistance. Like water finding its path downhill, manifestation flows most powerfully when unobstructed by doubt, anxiety, or rigid attachment to outcomes. Your allowing becomes a permission slip for miracles. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space where you can be undisturbed. Settle into a comfortable position, feeling the weight of your body supported by the earth. Take 3 deep, conscious breaths, releasing tension with each exhale. As your breath flows naturally, gently murmur the words, "I allow." Feel these words resonate in your body, creating space for universal energy to flow freely. Remember, what pushing delays, surrender invites. Chapter 8. The Music of Momentum. The story of Bernice awakens an eternal truth within you. In a dimly lit room where shadows of grief clung to the walls, Bernice discovered what mystics have known through ages. Movement dissolves resistance. Her heart, heavy with loss, found liberation, not in stillness, but in the gentle sway of surrender. When you resist the flow of life, you create ripples that disturb the natural order. Yet within you lies an ancient wisdom that recognizes rhythm as the language of the universe. Just as waves dance eternally with the shore, your spirit yearns to move in harmony with the cosmic dance. The universe speaks through subtle impulses, a quickening of your heart, an inexplicable urge to move, a whispered invitation to flow. These are not random occurrences but divine guidance, leading you toward alignment. When you honor these impulses, you activate the law of perpetual motion. One shift creates countless ripples across the fabric of existence. Pearl, a woman bound by rigid planning, discovered this truth in her garden. Each morning, she would meticulously schedule her day, until one dawn when a butterfly's dance caught her attention. Following an inner call, she began to sway with it. That simple movement initiated a chain of synchronicities. A chance encounter led to an opportunity, which opened a door she had long hoped would unlock. The wisdom lies not in forcing movement, but in allowing it to emerge naturally from within. Your body holds infinite intelligence, waiting to guide you toward what you seek. When you attune to its rhythm, you tap into the current of universal flow. This is not mere physical motion, but spiritual propulsion. Each step aligned with the cosmic choreography. Remember, the universe does not respond to rigid control, but to the fluid dance of trust. When you release the need to orchestrate every moment, you create space for divine timing to work through you. Your role is not to push against the current, but to move with it, allowing life to carry you toward your highest good. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you can move freely. Let music fill the air, any melody that calls to your soul. For 1 minute, release all thoughts of purpose or outcome. Allow your body to sway naturally, following its own wisdom. Feel how life moves not just around you, but through you. In this sacred dance, you align with the eternal current of allowing, where manifestation flows with effortless grace. Chapter 9. The Pulse of Trust. Long ago, a merchant named Calvin lived at the crossroads of two ancient trade routes. Each morning he would meticulously count his coins, check his ledgers twice, and pace anxiously about his future. Though his warehouses overflowed with goods and his reputation drew traders from distant lands, fear gripped his heart like a winter frost. Within these vibrations of worry, Calvin created a fortress of certainty, strict routines, endless planning, and the illusion of control. Yet the more tightly he grasped at security, the more it slipped through his fingers like desert sand. The universal law reveals that trust is not blind faith, but rather an alignment with the natural flow of abundance. When you release the need to orchestrate every detail, you open channels through which greater possibilities can flow. Your grip on outcomes creates resistance that blocks the very prosperity you seek to secure. Consider how a flower grows. It does not strain or struggle, but simply opens to receive the light. This same principle governs all creation. Your role is not to force the universe's hand, but to maintain the vibration of peaceful expectancy that attracts your good. This truth found expression in the life of Doris, a wandering artist who carried only her brushes and an unwavering faith in divine provision. Where others saw scarcity, she witnessed evidence of infinite supply. Each sunset gifted new colors for her palette. Every stranger's smile confirmed the universe's benevolence. When commissions were scarce, she would recall the countless times provision had appeared unexpectedly. A surprise patron, a timely invitation, a spontaneous opportunity. The difference between Doris and Calvin was not in their circumstances, but in their vibrational stance. While Calvin's anxiety constricted his field of possibilities, Doris's trust expanded hers. She had learned that the universe responds not to desperate pleading, but to the calm assurance that all is well. Your ability to trust directly affects your capacity to receive. When you vibrate at the frequency of certainty, not in specific outcomes, but in the loving intelligence that guides all life, you become a natural channel for abundance. Release the need to know every step and watch as life reveals possibilities far greater than your careful plans could have devised. Ancient practice. At first light each morning, find a quiet moment and write in your journal, "Life has always taken care of." Complete this sentence with a specific memory of divine precision in your own journey. Let this evidence of past support lift your vibration into trust, opening new channels for universal good to flow. Chapter 10. The Lens of Appreciation. In a small cottage at the edge of a meadow, Edna lived a life that many would call ordinary. Each morning unfolded like countless others before. The whistle of her kettle, the creak of her wooden floors, the golden light filtering through her kitchen window. Yet within this seeming sameness lay the seeds of transformation. For years, Edna had walked past the same rose bush beside her door, barely glancing at its delicate petals. She had heard the morning birds without truly listening to their song. The dawn light had touched her face without awakening her wonder, until one morning, when everything changed. This is the secret that the ages have whispered. Abundance flows not from what you have, but from how you see. The universe constantly offers its gifts, yet most pass through life with eyes turned inward, missing the quiet parade of miracles that surrounds them. When you shift your perception from scarcity to abundance, you align with the natural state of universal flow. Each moment brims with evidence of infinite supply, the endless dance of clouds, the perpetual renewal of seasons, the countless stars that light the night sky. These are not mere poetic observations, but vital signals of the abundance that underpins all of creation. Edna discovered this truth on that pivotal morning when she truly saw her world for the first time. The dewdrops on her roses were not just water, but prisms holding entire universes of light. The steam from her tea became a dance of particles that had journeyed from ancient oceans. Her wooden floorboards held stories of forests that had stood for centuries. In recognizing the extraordinary within the ordinary, she began to vibrate at the frequency of wonder. This shift in perception was beautifully mirrored in the story of August, a weathered lighthouse keeper who had grown numb to the majesty of his surroundings. Year after year, he mechanically performed his duties until one storm-swept night when the sky erupted in an aurora of impossible colors. In that moment, awe broke through his practiced indifference. He realized that he had been standing in the midst of daily miracles, blind to their brilliance. Just as August rediscovered the wonder of his world, you too can awaken to the abundance that surrounds you. Every breath draws in molecules that once passed through stars. Every heartbeat echoes the rhythm that moves galaxies. When you attune your awareness to these everyday miracles, you align with the frequency of infinite supply. Ancient practice. As the sun rises tomorrow, take your journal and find a quiet space. List 5 things in your immediate surroundings that glow with quiet beauty, perhaps the way light catches a water glass, or how shadows dance on your wall. Let each observation fill you with gratitude, for gratitude is gravity for grace. This practice will gradually attune your eyes to the abundance that has always surrounded you, waiting to be recognized. Part 2. The Becoming. Chapter 11. The Bridge of Intention. There exists a truth known to masters across time. What you vividly imagine, you inevitably become. Within the depths of your mind lies a sacred studio where reality first takes form, where the unseen becomes seen through the divine art of visualization. In a sun-filled attic room, Opal sat before her easel each morning, not to paint landscapes or portraits, but to sketch the contours of her future self. With each stroke of her pencil, she detailed the life she wished to create, not in vague outlines, but in rich, textured detail. She drew herself teaching in a light-filled studio, guiding others to discover their artistic gifts. She sketched the very clothes she would wear, the way sunlight would play across her workspace, the smiles of her students as they uncovered their talents. What Opal intuitively understood was a principle as old as consciousness itself. The mind cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a physical one. Each time she immersed herself in these detailed visions, she was literally rehearsing her future into being, creating neural pathways that would later become her lived reality. This same principle revealed itself through Ralph, a humble gardener who spent his evenings visualizing the perfect orchard. In his mind's eye, he walked between rows of thriving trees, felt the smooth bark beneath his fingers, inhaled the sweet scent of ripening fruit. Day after day he maintained this practice, even when his small plot showed no signs of the abundance he imagined. Yet over time, his physical garden began to mirror his mental image with uncanny precision. Your imagination is not mere fantasy. It is the universe's creative force expressing itself through you. When you engage in detailed visualization, you are not dreaming idly. You are participating in the primary act of creation. The outer world must eventually conform to the inner vision you consistently hold. The universe operates through vibration, and sustained visualization creates a powerful frequency that attracts corresponding circumstances. Every detail you imagine sends ripples through the field of infinite possibility, drawing toward you the elements needed for its manifestation. Ancient practice. The sacred preview. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes and allow your breath to become slow and steady. Begin to imagine your ideal day unfolding, starting from the moment you wake. See the morning light. Feel the textures of your surroundings. Hear the sounds that fill your space. Move through each hour with deliberate attention to detail. The conversations you have, the work you do, the joy you feel. Notice the clothes you wear, the people you encounter, the achievements you celebrate. Stay with this vision until you feel a smile forming naturally on your lips. This is not merely an exercise in imagination. It is a blueprint you are sending to the universe, a sacred preview of what is to come. Remember, as you emerge from this visualization, what you have seen is not a dream to chase, but a reality already taking form in the unseen realms, awaiting its perfect moment of expression in your visible world. Chapter 12. The Field of Possibility. The boundaries between your present and desired reality are more permeable than you realize. Just as a bridge connects two shores while existing in neither completely, your focused intention spans the space between what is and what shall be. Think of Floyd, who lost everything in a market crash. Each morning he would walk to the ocean's edge, watching waves reshape the shore. At first, his thoughts echoed only loss and limitation. But as days passed, he began to understand. Just as every wave held infinite potential forms before breaking, so too did his life contain unlimited possibilities awaiting his recognition. Floyd started small. He imagined warmth when he felt cold, abundance when his pockets were empty. He visualized opportunities flowing to him like the tide, unstoppable and rhythmic. With each visualization, his energy shifted. He noticed how people responded differently to him, how circumstances began to align with his renewed expectations. This is the quantum truth that masters have guarded through ages. All possibilities exist simultaneously in the eternal now. Your role is not to create what you desire, but to tune your frequency to its existing reality. Through focused intention, you select which version of reality becomes your experience. Consider Josie, who had dreamed of studying with a renowned artist. One afternoon, while visualizing herself learning in this master's studio, she felt compelled to visit a small cafe she'd never noticed before. There, at a corner table, sat the very artist she'd been imagining, who had just decided to open a small teaching studio. This was not mere coincidence. It was vibrational matching in its purest form, the natural law that draws together energies of similar frequency. Your visualization creates a resonance that attracts its physical equivalent. The universe does not distinguish between what you see with your physical eyes and what you perceive with your inner vision. Both are equally real, equally powerful in shaping your experience. When you understand this, you realize that visualization is not mere daydreaming. It is the active selection of which reality you choose to experience. Ancient practice. Stand in a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and feel the aliveness in the air around you. Take 3 deep breaths, allowing your awareness to expand with each exhale. Then, with quiet authority, speak these words aloud. All options are present, and I choose joy. Notice how the space around you seems to tingle and respond, as if the very atoms of existence are rearranging themselves to match your declaration. This is not imagination. It is the universe acknowledging your choice. Chapter 13. The Compass of Emotion. In a small cottage among ancient oaks, Dottie sat surrounded by untouched belongings that once belonged to her sister. Each item sparked waves of sorrow that seemed to freeze her in place. For months, she interpreted these emotional storms as proof that joy had abandoned her forever. Your emotions are not chains binding you to circumstance. They are messengers carrying wisdom from the deepest waters of your being. When you resist their presence, viewing them as permanent sentences rather than temporary guidance, you trap yourself in recurring patterns that need not persist. The universe speaks through feeling, using the language of sensation to guide you toward alignment. Each emotion arrives as a teacher, showing you where attention is needed and what beliefs require transformation. These feelings are not meant to define you, but to refine you. Lloyd discovered this truth during a period of intense anger following betrayal. His initial reaction was to view his rage as confirmation that the world was against him. But one morning, while watching steam rise from his tea, he realized anger could be as changeable as water transforming to vapor. He began treating his emotions as energy in motion, emotion, allowing them to flow through him rather than solidifying into identity. When anger arose, instead of becoming it, he would channel its energy into purposeful action. Gradually, his rage transformed into determination, then into clarity, and finally into peace. Like Lloyd, you possess the power to transmute emotional energy. Your feelings are neither good nor bad. They are simply indicators of your current relationship with universal flow. When grief visits, it whispers of love's depth. When fear emerges, it points toward growth's edge. When joy bubbles up, it confirms your alignment with life's natural abundance. The ancient art of emotional alchemy begins with acceptance. By acknowledging each feeling without judgment, you free yourself from its grip. This acceptance doesn't mean resigned endurance. It means conscious participation in your own transformation. Ancient practice. Sit quietly where you won't be disturbed. When an emotion surfaces, whether gentle or intense, place your hand over your heart and whisper, "Message received." Then, with the same tenderness you'd show a child, choose a softer thought to hold alongside it. Allow both to exist, knowing that in their dance lies your freedom. Sit quietly where no noise can reach the inner chamber of your awareness, and you will notice how emotions rise like tides, sometimes calm, sometimes crashing. When you place your hand over your heart and whisper, "Message received," you signal to your inner world that you are no longer running from yourself. In that simple acknowledgement, the emotion loosens its grip, for it has been witnessed, honored, and given the space it was seeking. As you hold that moment with tenderness, you begin to see the feeling not as a threat, but as a messenger, carrying wisdom from the unseen layers of your being. By choosing a softer thought to accompany it, like offering a lantern to someone walking in the dark, you create a gentle companionship between your inner reactions and your deeper knowing. This pairing dissolves the notion that you must choose one or the other. Instead, they coexist in a quiet harmony that softens the entire emotional landscape. In allowing both the raw emotion and the gentle thought to rest side by side, something subtle shifts within you. The old pattern of resistance fades, and in its place emerges a spaciousness where healing moves naturally. This is the doorway to inner freedom. The realization that liberation is not found in fighting your feelings, but in embracing them with a compassion so steady that they transform simply by being held. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Script of Speech. In a bustling marketplace, a merchant named Blanche muttered daily about her misfortunes. "Nothing ever works out," she would say, watching potential customers pass by her stall. "There's never enough." With each utterance, her words wove an invisible net, catching and holding the very scarcity she spoke of. The words you speak are not mere sounds dispersing into air. They are vibrations that ripple through the fabric of creation itself. Each syllable carries the power to shape the substance of your reality, for the universe listens not just to your thoughts, but to the declarations you make with your voice. When you proclaim lack, you command it into being. When you announce limitation, you decree its presence in your life. The ancient ones knew this truth. Your tongue is an instrument of creation, and every word you speak becomes a seed planted in the fertile soil of possibility. In the depths of winter, Victor faced bankruptcy in his small carpentry shop. His days had become a litany of complaints about the weather, the economy, his competitors. But one morning he discovered a weathered manuscript that spoke of the sacred power of declaration. The teachings within revealed that words were not descriptions of reality, but architects of it. Victor began transforming his speech. Instead of, "I can't afford this," he declared, "abundance flows to me naturally." Rather than, "Business is slow," he proclaimed, "My services are in growing demand." Each statement felt strange at first, like wearing clothes that didn't quite fit. But as days passed, his words began reshaping his reality. New clients appeared, opportunities emerged, and his business flourished. Your words carry the same creative force that spoke worlds into being. They are not passive observers of circumstance, but active creators of experience. Every time you speak, you are engaging in a sacred act of creation, sending forth vibrations that the universe must match. Listen to those who have mastered this art. They speak with deliberate intent, knowing their words are cosmic instructions. They understand that complaining is a form of dark prayer, while gratitude and positive declaration are invitations to grace. Ancient wisdom practice. Select 3 desires close to your heart. For the next day, speak of them not as wishes, but as present realities. Replace "I want" with "I am," "I have," or "I experience." Speak these declarations aloud when you wake and before you sleep. Feel each word resonate in your body as truth. The universe responds not to what you wish for, but to what you declare as real. Let your voice become the bridge between possibility and manifestation. Remember, your words are not merely describing your world. They are creating it. Chapter 15. The Signature of Love. In a small mountain village, a woman named Mabel sat alone in her garden, her heart heavy with the weight of a love that had departed. Each morning she would touch the empty space beside her, feeling the absence more than the presence of anything else. Yet in this hollow, something extraordinary began to stir. The vibration of love exists as the highest frequency in all creation. It pulses through every atom, every cell, every breath of life itself. When you tune yourself to this master frequency, the universe responds with an orchestration of miracles that defy ordinary explanation. Your heart is not merely an organ of flesh. It is a transmitter of the most powerful force in existence. Each beat sends ripples through the quantum field, attracting or repelling experiences based on its emotional signature. When pain closes the heart, this natural flow becomes constricted. But when you choose to keep your heart open, even in the face of loss, you align with the very current that sustains galaxies. Through her tears, Mabel discovered that love itself had never left. Only its temporary form had changed. As she began to direct love toward everything around her, the morning birds, the rustling leaves, the strangers passing by, something remarkable occurred. The frequency of her being shifted from longing to abundance. In a distant city, a merchant named Everett faced declining fortunes. His instinct was to hoard what little remained, to close his hands tightly around his possessions. But wisdom came through an old friend who shared the secret of circulation. Give what you wish to receive. Initially skeptical, Everett began small, offering genuine smiles, kind words, small acts of generosity. To his amazement, as he gave freely of his heart, life began returning, his gifts multiplied. The universe operates through expansion and contraction, like the beating of a cosmic heart. When you contract in fear, withholding love, you resist this natural rhythm. But when you expand through giving, you align with the universe's fundamental nature. Love, given freely, becomes love multiplied infinitely. The ancient practice. Find a quiet moment in your day. Observe the people passing by, strangers whose stories you may never know. Choose one person and silently beam love from your heart to theirs. Don't expect anything in return. Simply allow your heart to expand and radiate this highest frequency. This pure transmission of love, free from attachment or expectation, creates ripples in the universal field that echo infinitely outward, touching lives in ways you may never see, but that transform the very fabric of reality. Chapter 16. The Dance of Alignment. Like Mabel, you may have experienced moments when love felt distant or unreachable. Yet within the ancient wisdom lies a profound truth. Love is not something to be found, but a frequency to be embodied. In a bustling marketplace, Nora searched endlessly for the perfect ingredients for her healing tonics. Each herb, each crystal, each blend had to meet her exacting standards. Day after day, she strove for an elusive perfection that left her exhausted and unfulfilled. Until one morning, something shifted within her. Instead of forcing herself to follow rigid recipes, she began to listen to the subtle whispers of her intuition. Her hands seemed to know which herbs to combine, which essences would blend in harmony. Her creations, though perhaps not perfect by her former standards, carried a new potency, the energy of alignment. This same principle manifested in Clarence, a master craftsman known throughout the valley. While others marveled at his intricate woodwork, few understood his secret. Clarence never pushed himself to create. Instead, he would sit quietly in his workshop until he felt what he called the flow, that subtle current of inspiration that moved through him. Some days he worked from dawn until dusk, while on others he simply sat in contemplation. His creations emerged not from forced effort, but from surrendered focus. The universe operates through this same principle of aligned action. When you attune yourself to love's frequency, you naturally draw to yourself experiences that match this vibration. This is not about achieving perfection, but about allowing yourself to move in harmony with the divine current that flows through all things. Ancient practice. As the day unfolds before you, pause periodically and ask yourself, what feels light right now? Notice which thoughts, actions, or directions carry a sense of ease and luminosity. This is not about avoiding responsibility, but about discovering the path of least resistance, the way that aligns most purely with love's frequency. Follow these gentle nudges, these whispers of alignment. They are love's signature guiding you toward your highest expression. This simple practice activates a profound shift in your vibrational field. As you align with what feels light, you naturally attune to love's frequency, allowing the universe to orchestrate through you with effortless grace. Chapter 17. The Alchemy of Gratitude. In the shade of an ancient olive grove, Ivy tended her garden, each movement weighted with resentment. Her hands worked mechanically, pulling weeds that seemed to multiply endlessly, mirroring the growing bitterness in her heart. For years she had cared for her elderly mother, watching her own dreams wither like unwatered flowers. Yet in this garden, among the persistent weeds and stubborn soil, a transformation awaited. One dawn, as morning light filtered through the leaves, Ivy noticed something peculiar. The very weeds she despised held tiny droplets of dew, each one catching the sunlight like a perfect jewel. In that moment, her perspective shifted. These weren't obstacles, but teachers, showing her the beauty in unwanted circumstances. With each weed she now removed, Ivy began offering thanks for the strength in her hands, for the rich soil beneath her feet, for the ability to care for another soul. Clark's story intertwines with this wisdom. Living in a small apartment above a noisy street, he constantly focused on what he lacked: space, silence, luxury. His thoughts created a fortress of scarcity until he discovered an ancient practice of counting blessings. Each evening, he began noting 3 gifts the day had offered: the smile of a stranger, the scent of rain, the warmth of sunlight through his window. Gradually, his cramped apartment transformed into a sanctuary of contentment. The universe operates through subtle, energetic frequencies. When you transmute resentment into appreciation, you alter your vibrational signature. This is not mere positive thinking, it is spiritual alchemy. Gratitude acts as a master key, unlocking doors previously sealed by discontent. Each thank you whispered sincerely releases a wave of energy that ripples through the fabric of reality. Consider how water changes its crystalline structure in response to loving thoughts. Your consciousness works similarly. Every grateful thought reorganizes your energetic field, creating new patterns of possibility. This is why ancient wisdom keepers taught gratitude as a sacred practice, not just a pleasant sentiment. The ancient practice. Find a quiet moment as the day draws to a close. Take paper and pen in hand and write a letter of heartfelt thanks to something unseen, perhaps to the air that fills your lungs, the force that keeps your heart beating, or the invisible hand of grace that has guided you thus far. Pour your appreciation onto the page without expectation or restraint. Let your words flow from genuine recognition of the countless unseen blessings that surround you. This practice realigns your energy with the frequency of abundance, opening channels for greater good to flow into your life. The universe mirrors what you radiate. When gratitude becomes your natural state, life responds with increasing generosity. This is not coincidence, but cosmic law in action. Chapter 18. The Path of Inspired Action. In the silence of an ancient temple, a master taught that gratitude transforms the very fabric of existence. Through time, this wisdom has echoed, reaching those ready to unlock its power. A young woman named Della stood at the threshold of a life-changing decision. Each morning, she would reach for her paintbrush, then withdraw her hand, fear gripping her heart. The canvases remained blank, her dreams of becoming an artist fading with each passing day. Until one morning, something shifted. Rather than focusing on what might go wrong, she felt a sudden surge of appreciation for the simple fact that she could create. Her hand steady with newfound joy, she began to paint. Within months, her work adorned gallery walls, each piece born not from ambition, but from genuine gratitude for the creative force flowing through her. The universe responds not to what you wish for, but to the frequency you emanate. When gratitude becomes your natural state, abundance flows without effort. This is the ancient alchemy, the transformation of base fear into golden opportunity. Marvin, a craftsman, discovered this truth in his workshop. For years, his project stalled as he meticulously planned every detail, anxiety driving his perfectionism. One day, overwhelmed by appreciation for his tools and materials, he began working purely from inspiration. His energy shifted from worried precision to joyful creation. Soon, clients sought his work not just for its quality, but for the happiness somehow woven into each piece. The law of gratitude operates with mathematical precision. Each thankful thought releases a wave of creative energy into the universe. This energy returns multiplied, creating a cycle of ever-increasing abundance. Your appreciation becomes a magnetic force, drawing more reasons to be grateful. In moments of doubt, remember, gratitude is not a response to your circumstances. It is the power that transforms them. When you choose thankfulness before evidence of good appears, you initiate the alchemy of transformation. Sacred practice. Today, take one action only if it feels exciting. Let joy guide your choices, not obligation. Notice how this shift in energy creates effortless momentum. The universe responds not to your striving, but to your state of being. In this way, gratitude becomes your compass, leading you naturally toward your highest good. Chapter 19. The Light of Understanding. A master once spoke of a desert well that served both friend and stranger alike, asking nothing in return. Its waters flowed freely, teaching the profound truth that all are one. Agnes lived in a bustling marketplace where merchants from distant lands gathered to trade their wares. Each day, she would hurry past those whose customs and dress differed from her own, clutching her shawl tightly around her shoulders. The strangeness of their languages created walls in her mind, and she viewed their presence as an intrusion into her familiar world. One sweltering afternoon, when the sun beat mercilessly upon the square, Agnes witnessed an elderly merchant collapse from heat exhaustion. Without thinking, she rushed to help him. As she cradled his head and offered him water, their eyes met. In that moment, the barriers she had built dissolved. She saw not a foreigner, but a fellow soul on life's journey. This simple act of kindness opened a door within her heart that could never again close. Through this awakening, Agnes discovered that resistance to others was resistance to herself. Each person she had once avoided became a mirror, reflecting different aspects of the same universal spirit. Her marketplace transformed from a place of division to one of unity, where every interaction revealed the interconnected tapestry of existence. Theo, a judge known for his harsh sentences, experienced a similar revelation. During a particularly challenging case, he glimpsed the defendant's humanity beneath the charges. This shift in perception changed not only his ruling but his entire approach to justice. Where once he saw separation, he now recognized the common thread connecting all beings. The universe whispers this truth. Opposition exists only in the mind. When you release judgment and embrace unity, the very fabric of reality bends toward harmony. Those who seem most different from you often carry the keys to your greatest growth. Through Agnes and Theo's experiences, we learn that compassion is not merely a virtue. It is a force that dissolves the illusion of separation. When you view others through the lens of unity, you align with the universal flow that connects all things. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and settle into stillness. Close your eyes and imagine a gentle golden light emanating from your heart. See this light extending outward, connecting you to everyone in your vicinity. Family, neighbors, strangers passing by. Feel the boundaries between you dissolving in this radiance. Let this light bridge all perceived differences, revealing the underlying unity of all beings. Remain in this state of connected awareness for several minutes, allowing empathy to transform your perception of those around you. Chapter 20. The Symphony of Presence. Consider Lula, who once scattered her energy across countless tasks, her mind forever racing between duties, yet never fully arriving at any of them. Each morning found her simultaneously preparing breakfast, checking messages, planning meetings, and half listening to her children. The universe's abundance seemed to elude her grasp until one transformative morning when her teacup slipped, shattering against the floor. In that startling moment of stillness, as she knelt to gather the fragments, Lula experienced something extraordinary. For the first time in years, she gave her complete attention to a single act. The simple movement of her hands, the gentle clink of porcelain, the cool touch of each piece, everything came alive with unprecedented clarity. In this complete presence, she felt an inexplicable sense of wholeness, as though the universe itself had paused to breathe with her. Frank, a garden keeper, embodied this wisdom naturally. While others rushed through their days, he tended each plant with undivided attention, as though it were the only task in existence. His serenity drew others like moths to flame, though few understood its source. The power of his presence manifested in gardens that seemed to burst with otherworldly vitality, in conversations that left others feeling truly seen, in days that expanded like endless summer evenings. The universe whispers this truth: where attention flows, energy grows. When you fragment your awareness, you fragment your connection to the infinite source of all abundance. But when you gather yourself fully in the present moment, you tap into the eternal now, where all possibilities converge. Sacred practice. Choose one simple activity, perhaps folding a single garment, taking 3 mindful bites of food, or drawing one complete breath. Bring your entire being to this single act. Notice how the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary under the light of full attention. Feel how time expands, how reality deepens, how the boundary between observer and observed gently dissolves. In this unity of focus, you touch the unity of all things. Part 3. The Radiance. Chapter 21. The Signature of Faith. In the shadows of an ancient temple, a merchant counted his dwindling coins. Each night he would return to tally what remained, his heart heavy with worry. Until one evening, when a passing sage observed his ritual and shared a truth that would transform his understanding forever. The universe responds not to your needs, but to your certainty. Your relationship with faith determines the speed at which your desires materialize. Faith is not blind hope, but rather a knowing so deep it requires no external proof. It is the quiet conviction that carries you through the void between asking and receiving. The universe operates through immutable laws, as constant as gravity itself. When you plant a seed, you do not dig it up each day to check its progress. Your certainty in the process allows the natural unfolding to occur. So, too, must you trust in the invisible mechanics of manifestation. Consider Tilly, who discovered this wisdom while rebuilding her life after loss. Each morning she would wake to face the same empty rooms, the same mounting bills, the same echoing silence. Yet instead of dwelling in doubt, she chose to cultivate an unwavering inner knowing. She began to move through her days as though her desires were already fulfilled, holding steady in her conviction even when circumstances suggested otherwise. Wallace exemplified this principle when his business faced seemingly insurmountable challenges. While others panicked and retreated, he maintained an unshakable calm. He understood that outer conditions were merely lagging reflections of previous thoughts and expectations. Rather than reacting to appearances, he chose to anchor himself in the certainty of his vision. Your faith is the frequency that aligns you with universal forces. It is not something you must manufacture or force. It is your natural state when you remember the truth of who you are. When doubt arises, recognize it as a temporary cloud passing through the vast sky of your consciousness. The law operates with mathematical precision. Your level of faith determines the speed of manifestation. This is not about positive thinking, but about achieving a state of knowing so complete that the very atoms of existence have no choice but to rearrange themselves according to your conviction. Practice. Each time uncertainty surfaces about your goals or desires, pause and whisper these words with quiet authority. It is already done. Feel the truth of this statement in every cell of your body. This simple practice stabilizes your frequency at the exact vibration of your desire's fulfillment. Remember, faith is not the absence of doubt. It is the presence of certainty. Chapter 22. The Golden Return. Consider Ophelia, who owned a small flower shop at the edge of town. Each morning she would select one perfect bloom and gift it to the first person who passed her store. Some questioned her practice of giving away merchandise, warning that such generosity would lead to loss. Yet Ophelia understood a deeper truth, that genuine giving creates an energetic signature that the universe must honor. As seasons turned, her small acts of generosity began to ripple outward. Those who received her flowers returned with friends. Stories of her kindness spread through the village. Soon, her shop overflowed with customers drawn to the warmth of her spirit as much as the beauty of her blooms. Her revenue multiplied tenfold, yet she never wavered from her morning ritual of giving. The universe mirrors this principle in countless ways. When you release something with pure joy, without expectation of return, you create a vacuum that must be filled. This is the law that Calvin, a struggling artist, discovered when he began offering free art lessons to neighborhood children. His initial impulse came from love, the simple desire to share his passion. Yet as he gave freely of his time and knowledge, unexpected doors began to open. Galleries took notice of his work. Commissions flowed in. His generosity had activated an ancient law. What flows out must flow back, multiplied. These stories illuminate a fundamental truth. Abundance follows the path of open-handed faith. When you give with genuine joy, you demonstrate trust in the infinite supply of the universe. This trust becomes your energetic signature, one that the universe recognizes and must match in kind. The practice of faith through giving need not be grand. A heartfelt smile offered to a stranger, an encouraging word shared with sincerity, a small favor extended without hesitation. These acts carry powerful creative force. Each gesture of generosity sends ripples through the fabric of reality, creating patterns that return to you enriched and multiplied. Ancient practice. Choose one thing today, be it material or intangible, and gift it with pure joy. As you give, feel the completeness of the circle. Know that your gesture creates a signature in the universe, one that must find its way back to you. The key lies not in the size of the gift, but in the love with which it is given. Through this practice, you strengthen your faith in the endless cycle of giving and receiving that governs all of creation. Chapter 23. The Horizon of Vision. In a quiet valley between ancient mountains, Harriet stood amid the ruins of her family's ancestral home. Fire had claimed everything except the stone foundation and her grandmother's cherished rose garden. As she touched the soot-stained walls, a strange peace washed over her. In that moment of apparent loss, she glimpsed something vast and luminous, the infinite space of possibility that opens when familiar structures fall away. The universe speaks through what appears as emptiness. When your known world dissolves, you stand at the threshold of unlimited potential. What seems like ending is truly invitation, a cosmic nudge toward expansion that your soul has been quietly requesting. Your desires are not your own invention. They are the universe's way of calling you toward greater expression. Each dream that stirs within you is a seed planted by divine intelligence, waiting for your recognition. When you allow yourself to imagine beyond the boundaries of what seems reasonable, you align with the universe's natural inclination toward expansion. Norman, a humble lighthouse keeper, understood this truth. Each evening, as he climbed the tower steps, he would gaze at the horizon where sea met sky. Others saw only the edge of the world, but Norman perceived infinity. He began painting what he saw, not just the physical seascape, but the boundless possibility it represented. His art captured something that transformed viewers, awakening in them a remembrance of their own limitless nature. The universe does not recognize the concept of too much. Your capacity for receiving matches the vastness of your vision. When you constrict your dreams to what seems sensible or realistic, you resist the natural flow of abundance. The divine speaks in the language of exponential growth, of multiplication rather than addition. Your consciousness is the only gateway through which greater good can enter your experience. By expanding your vision, you literally create more space for the universe to fill. What you dare to imagine becomes the blueprint for what must manifest. The practice: find a quiet moment and take 3 deep breaths. On blank paper, write your grandest vision for your life, one that makes your heart race with both excitement and disbelief. Let your words flow without censorship or doubt. Write until you feel a smile forming, until your body tingles with recognition. This is not fantasy. It is you remembering the vastness you came here to express. Hold this vision until it feels as natural as breathing. The universe bends toward those who dare to dream beyond boundaries. Chapter 24. The Breath of Still Power. A weaver sat at her loom in the pre-dawn hours, her hands trembling with anxious energy. Winifred had been working through the night, desperately trying to complete her masterpiece. Yet with each rushed movement the threads tangled and broke. As morning light spilled through her window, she paused, exhausted. In that moment of surrender, she noticed her own breath. Shallow, rushed, discordant. She closed her eyes and allowed her breathing to deepen. As her chest rose and fell in gentle rhythm, something remarkable occurred. Her hands found a new grace, and the weaving began to flow as naturally as a stream over stones. Within you lies the most potent force of creation, your breath. It is no accident that ancient wisdom speaks of the universe being breathed into existence. Each inhalation draws in divine life force. Each exhalation releases your intention into the cosmic web. When you move in harmony with this primal rhythm, you become a living channel through which the infinite expresses itself. Raymond, a master craftsman, discovered this truth while restoring centuries-old timepieces. For years, he approached each delicate mechanism with tension, his movements rigid and forced. One day, watching a monk tend his garden, he noticed the man's serene efficiency, each motion flowing from centered breath. Raymond began synchronizing his work with his breathing. Soon, watches that had refused to tick for decades awakened under his tranquil touch. Your breath is the bridge between inner vision and outer manifestation. When you breathe consciously, you align with the very pulse of creation. Anxiety fragments your energy, scattering your creative force like seeds in a storm. But centered breathing gathers your power, focusing it into a laser beam of pure intention. The universe doesn't respond to desperate grasping, but to poised allowing. Your breath, when conscious, becomes the bellows that fans the flames of manifestation. Each inhalation draws in possibility. Each exhalation shapes reality. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space and sit comfortably. Close your eyes and imagine pure golden light surrounding you. As you inhale, see this light entering your body, filling you with creative power. As you exhale, visualize this light radiating outward, carrying your intention into the universe. Continue for 10 slow, complete breaths. Feel how each breath ripples through the cosmic web, bending galaxies to your centered awareness. Chapter 25. The Fabric of Oneness. The power of breath reveals itself most clearly in moments of stillness. When you align your breathing with the natural rhythm of life, you become a vessel through which universal energy flows unimpeded. Like a river finding its course, your actions take on an effortless quality that accomplishes more than any amount of frantic activity. Minnie witnessed this truth unfold during her daily commute. While others rushed and pushed through the crowded streets, she began to notice a dance of synchronicity, how pedestrians unconsciously adjusted their pace to avoid collision, how traffic lights pulsed in perfect timing, how even the birds overhead seemed to participate in this grand choreography. With each conscious breath, the patterns became clearer, until she could feel the heartbeat of the city itself. The universe speaks in the language of harmony, and your breath is the key to understanding its whispers. George, once trapped in isolation, discovered this when he began to observe his breathing during his morning walks. As his breath deepened, he felt the boundaries between himself and his surroundings dissolve. The trees seemed to breathe with him. The wind carried messages of connection, and even strangers' faces reflected back the same divine spark he felt kindling within. This is the secret that masters have guarded through ages. True power comes not from forcing your will upon the world, but from aligning your breath with the cosmic dance already in motion. When you breathe consciously, you participate in the universe's endless cycle of creation. Each inhalation draws in new possibility. Each exhalation releases what no longer serves. Your breath is both anchor and wings, grounding you in the present moment while lifting you into expanded awareness. As you attune to this rhythm, you'll notice how life begins to flow through you rather than against you. Resistance melts away, replaced by a deep knowing that you are inseparable from the whole. Practice. Whenever judgment arises about a person or situation, pause and say silently, "We are one pattern." Feel how this truth resonates with your breath, dissolving the illusion of separation. Let each breath remind you of your connection to the vast tapestry of existence. Chapter 26. The Crown of Choice. In a small mountain village there lived a woman named Ida, who painted sunrises each morning. Even on stormy days she would mix bright colors on her palette, creating the dawn she wished to see. Many thought her peculiar, but Ida understood a truth most had forgotten, that joy is not a response to circumstances, but a choice that shapes them. Your emotional frequency carries more power than any external force. Like a master artist selecting colors for a masterpiece, you choose the vibrations that will paint your reality. This ancient wisdom whispers through every spiritual tradition. Your inner state creates your outer world. When Ida's village faced its harshest winter in decades, she continued painting her radiant sunrises. While others focused on scarcity and hardship, she infused her days with deliberate joy. Gradually, neighbors began gathering in her warm kitchen, sharing resources and stories. The community's spirit lifted, and solutions emerged that no one had seen before. Ida's choice to maintain her joy had literally transformed the village's fate. Leonard discovered this same principle in the midst of his company's collapse. Instead of surrendering to despair, he made an unusual decision to celebrate the opportunity for reinvention. Each morning, he wrote down one aspect of the situation he could appreciate. His employees, witnessing his unwavering optimism, began approaching their challenges with renewed creativity. Within months, the company had pivoted to an entirely new market, more successful than before. The universe responds not to your circumstances, but to your energetic signature. When you choose joy, not as escape, but as conscious creation, you activate a frequency that attracts corresponding experiences. This is not mere positive thinking. It is vibrational physics at work. Your power lies not in controlling external events, but in selecting your response to them. Each moment offers a fresh canvas and you hold the brush. Will you paint with the dark colors of resignation or the bright hues of possibility? The choice, as it has always been, remains yours. The secret lies in understanding that joy is not frivolous. It is a force of creation. When you deliberately choose joy, especially in challenging moments, you alter the very fabric of probability. You become like Ida with her sunrise paintings, creating beauty that eventually manifests in the physical world. Practice. Stand beneath the open sky, whether cloudy or clear, and declare aloud, "I choose how I feel now." Notice how this declaration itself begins to shift the energy within and around you. Watch as the sky seems to respond, reflecting the lightness of your chosen state. The universe bends toward those who consciously select their emotional frequency. Chapter 27. The Language of Light. In the quietest hours before dawn, when the world holds its breath between darkness and light, you hold the power of sovereign choice. This truth reveals itself through the story of Eunice, who lived in a valley where mist gathered like thoughts at daybreak. Each morning, as Eunice walked the winding path to her garden, she noticed small signs that seemed to speak directly to her soul. A feather placed precisely where her foot would fall, clouds forming perfect shapes that answered her unspoken questions, or the same numbers appearing in unexpected sequences. At first she dismissed these as mere coincidence, continuing her days in the fog of uncertainty that had become her companion. But the universe persisted in its gentle conversation. When Eunice finally began paying attention, she discovered that these signs always appeared moments before important decisions. They weren't telling her what to do. They were reminding her of her own inner knowing, her divine right to choose. Your consciousness is an eternal dialogue with the infinite. Every moment presents a sacred opportunity to select your vibration, to paint your reality with the colors of your choosing. This is not merely positive thinking. It is the fundamental law by which consciousness shapes existence. Oscar, a watchmaker who lived across the valley, discovered this truth through his own journey. His workbench faced a window where birds would gather, and he began to notice they formed specific patterns before significant events in his life. When he learned to trust these subtle messages, his timing became impeccable, his decisions more aligned with the natural flow of creation. The universe speaks in whispers and winks, in repeated numbers and synchronized moments. These are not random occurrences, but confirmations of your connection to the cosmic dance. When you notice these patterns, you're recognizing the threads of divine conversation woven through your daily life. Your awareness creates your reality. Each time you choose to see meaning in these subtle signs, you strengthen your connection to universal intelligence. The signs have always been there, waiting for you to remember how to read them, how to dance with them, how to let them guide you back to your own wisdom. This knowing lives in your cells, in the spaces between your thoughts, in the quiet moments when you allow yourself to simply be. It's the language your soul has always spoken, the frequency of truth that resonates beneath the noise of doubt. Sacred practice. Throughout your day, watch for repeating numbers, synchronistic encounters, or patterns that catch your attention. When they appear, pause and smile, acknowledging this cosmic conversation. Don't analyze, simply receive. These moments are reminders of your intimate connection with infinite intelligence, confirmations that you're never truly alone in your choosing. Let each sign be a gentle nudge back to your own inner knowing, a reminder that you are always in dialogue with the universe itself. Chapter 28. The Circle Completed. In a small cottage among ancient oaks, there lived a woman named Hazel who carried the weight of her past like stones in her pockets. Each morning she would trace the lines of old scars, both visible and invisible, wondering why life had led her down such thorny paths. The law speaks through the language of experience, shaping your consciousness through every triumph and trial. What appears as misfortune often serves as initiation, preparing the soil of your spirit for greater flowering. One autumn evening, as Hazel sorted through faded photographs and tear-stained letters, something shifted in her perception. Each image, each memory that had once stung like bitter medicine, began to reveal its hidden purpose. The promotion she had lost led her to start her own business. The relationship that ended pushed her to discover her true worth. Even her darkest moments had carved channels through which wisdom now flowed. In the same village lived Douglas, a carpenter who had known his share of splinters and broken dreams. Yet he had learned to see life's cycles differently. Where others saw failure, he recognized preparation. When plans collapsed, he thanked the universe for clearing his path toward something more aligned with his highest good. Your journey unfolds with precise intelligence, though its wisdom may only become clear in retrospect. Each challenge you face carries a gift wrapped in disguise. The universe speaks through patterns, and when you step back far enough, you begin to see the masterful design of your life's tapestry. What you resist persists, but what you embrace transforms. Your past is not a prison, but a classroom where every lesson served its purpose. The pain you carried was not punishment, but preparation. The delays were not denials, but divine timing in action. Today, you stand at the threshold of understanding. Every step, even those that seemed to lead you astray, guided you perfectly to this moment of awakening. The universe has never been against you. It has always been drawing you toward your highest evolution. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment and write these words in your journal. Everything unfolded perfectly. Close your eyes and feel the truth of this statement settle into your bones. Let each breath release the grip of past regrets until you sense the lightness of acceptance flowing through you. This is not mere forgiveness. It is the recognition of the sacred order underlying all of life's chapters. Chapter 29. The Radiant Human. A woman named Laura dwelled in a modest home at the edge of a quiet village. Each morning she would rush through her routines, believing her worth lay in constant motion. Until one dawn, when illness confined her to stillness, she witnessed an extraordinary truth unfold. In the cosmic dance of creation, your mere presence carries infinite power. When you understand this ancient wisdom, you realize that your being, not your doing, creates the foundation for all manifestation. The universe responds not to endless activity, but to the frequency you embody. As Laura lay in her bed, watching sunlight paint patterns on her wall, she noticed how the room felt different, warmer, more alive. Her neighbors remarked how peace seemed to radiate from her home, though she had done nothing but rest there. In her stillness, she had become a lighthouse of tranquility, unconsciously transforming the energy around her. Not far away lived Chester, a former merchant who had discovered this truth years before. Where others pushed and strained toward their desires, Chester simply sat in quiet knowing. His garden flourished without constant tending, opportunities arrived without desperate seeking, and abundance flowed without forceful grasping. His secret? He had mastered the art of being rather than doing. The law reveals that your natural state is completeness. Like a flower that needs no instruction to bloom, your presence itself is a blessing to the world. When you release the compulsion to earn your existence through endless action, you align with the effortless flow of universal abundance. Through Laura's enforced rest and Chester's willing surrender, we glimpse this timeless truth. The universe responds not to what you do, but to who you are. Your presence itself is a frequency that bends reality. When you know this in your bones, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Release all need to accomplish or become anything. Simply be present, knowing that you are fulfillment embodied. Let this truth settle into every cell of your being. Remain here for several minutes, allowing your mere presence to bless the space around you. The universe moves in response to your being, not your doing. Chapter 30. The bend becomes you. In a garden filled with morning light, an old woman named Nettie tended to her flowers. Each day she would speak to them, not with words alone, but with a presence that seemed to make the entire garden glow. Those who passed by often remarked that both she and her blooms radiated an unusual brightness. Your presence in this world carries a power far beyond what your mind can comprehend. Within you flows the same force that spins galaxies and births stars. This truth lies not in ancient scrolls, but in the very breath you draw. Each inhale a cosmic dance, each exhale a universal song. When you stand before a mirror, you witness more than flesh and bone. The awareness gazing back through your eyes is the same awareness that moves mountains and parts seas. You are not separate from the creative force. You are that force expressing itself in human form. Through the quiet wisdom of nature, Nettie discovered what sages have whispered through ages. Separation is the grandest illusion. As her hands touched the soil, she felt the earth's pulse match her own. When rain fell upon her garden, she recognized it as her own tears of joy. The boundary between self and universe dissolved like morning mist in sunlight. In this moment, as these words flow through your consciousness, the universe bends with your every thought. No prayer needs to travel outward, because you are the prayer and the answer unified. Each desire arising in your heart is the universe speaking to itself through you. Look at your hands. They appear solid, yet science reveals they are mostly empty space filled with dancing energy, the same energy that fuels the stars. Your body is not a barrier between you and creation. It is creation taking exquisite form. The woman who comes to water lilies is the water, is the lily, is the light catching morning dew. She has remembered what you now remember. There is no manifesting to be done because you are the manifestation itself. This knowing changes everything. No more beseeching an outer force, no more separating creator from creation. In this sacred recognition, miracles become natural as breathing. For what force could resist itself? The practice. Find a quiet space and settle into stillness. Place your hand upon your heart and whisper these words: I am the universe bending. Let your awareness expand beyond skin, beyond bone, beyond all boundaries. Feel yourself as the infinite expressing through form. Rest in this truth until your cells sing with recognition. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. The universe has never been separate from you. This truth now settles into your bones like starlight finding its home. What appeared as external forces responding to your wishes reveals itself as the natural unfoldment of your own infinite consciousness. Every synchronicity, every answered prayer, every manifested desire emerged not from some distant cosmic benefactor, but from the depths of your own being. You are not reaching out to grasp something beyond yourself. Rather, you are remembering what you have always been, pure awareness expressing itself through form. The power you sought was never elsewhere. It flows through your veins as naturally as blood. Each thought you think ripples through the fabric of existence because you are that fabric. Each feeling you feel colors the canvas of reality because you are that canvas. The law of attraction reveals itself not as a force to be mastered, but as the simple truth of your nature expressing itself. When you smile, the universe smiles with you, because there is no separation between your joy and the joy of creation. When you trust, reality reshapes itself not through magic, but through recognition of its inherent harmony with your consciousness. You discovered these teachings when your soul was ready to remember its truth. Now, as you move through your days, you carry this knowing not as a technique to practice, but as your natural state of being. Your presence itself is a blessing. Your awareness a light that transforms everything it touches. The bend of the universe is your own heart's rhythm. You are not trying to manifest. You are allowing yourself to be what you have always been. Consciousness dancing with itself in endless celebration. This was never about becoming something new. It was about remembering who you are.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.